I have a lot of these weird experiences because I both travel a lot and also I'm at the price point where I can afford luxury in countries where they don't fully understand what luxury is. So like the 5-star hotel in Bali where like they'll make you any drink and it'll cost nothing, but the twist is they don't know how to make the drink. They're working it out from first principles as they go. Very nice people. They've never had a margarita before. But then my girlfriend and I were in Mexico and we were staying at this like new luxury hotel where we were like the first people to stay there who hadn't been paid to stay there. Like
right.
every previous guest was like clearly an influencer or whatever, like very staged photos, whatever. But the hotel was also a brewery.
Sure.
And again, very nice stuff, extremely overpriced food, whatever. We're just kind of like having the hotel to ourselves. But then they keep going on about how we must go on the brewery tour. And they're like, the brewery tour, you've got to go on the brewery tour. And we're like, being on holiday, like, yeah, sure, we totally will. And then they just kept nagging us about it. And then one day, the guy who ran the brewery, like, found us in the hotel and was like, you must come on the brewery
It's
tour.
time.
He's like, her.
Were you
like,
in
why haven't you come on the
he was
brewery
like,
tour?
Were you on holiday in an A24 movie?
It started to feel a little bit like that, especially because the guy found us while we were buying fake weed in the hotel weed shop. So it's common in the States, they have this weed called Delta 8, where it's like basically the same as weed, but it's technically not weed, so it's legal to sell in states where weed is illegal.
What?
And it's similar in Mexico. You can sell, it's like one molecule different from weed,
Yeah.
but it's like, it's the same. It's
Okay.
just, you smoke it, it's weed. But apparently, the first time you smoke it, it makes you way more high than regular weed because you're not used to that particular.
Molecule.
Anyway, so we both smoked the not weed, get extremely high, and then the guy, so basically, the guy gets us to agree to go on the brewery tour in an hour. We then smoke the weed, and then it's brewery tour time as we are like, oh fuck. We get there, and then the owner of the hotel is also there, and I'm at that stage where I'm like, the only way I can get through this is if I don't say a single word. Like,
A lot of sage nodding.
I'm doing so much, you know. And then there's like a bit where he's like, okay, guys, so what temperature does water boil at? And then
Oh, no.
we're like, is this a trick question? And then me and Annabelle look at each other and we go,
What's the piss content?
100? And he's like, that's right, guys. And then I'm just realizing that we looked at each other like
For like 4 full seconds.
like as though we weren't sure.
Oh, yes, the remedial tour.
Yeah, like as though that was a tough one.
Or you're like, oh, I hope they get easier after
We're
this.
looking at each other like, did he just say what we think he just said? But it just looks like we're just like struggling with like really like infant school stuff. And then he takes us into like a little classroom and he's getting us to eat hops that have been toasted to different levels. So he gives us like a lightly toasted hop and we eat it, like a handful of them. And then he's like, oh, this is kind of nice. It tastes like popcorn. And we're like, yeah, it does kind of taste like popcorn. And then he gives us like a dark toasted hop, but like a bigger handful. And so I only put half the handful in my mouth and we're chewing it. It's kind of bitter. And he's like, yeah, this one's not so nice to eat. It's kind of bitter. It doesn't taste very nice, right? And then I realized that I'd got the biggest handful and everyone else had eaten their entire handful. And then I'm just left with this half a handful of a thing, but there's nowhere to put it down. And I'm like really
I
stuck.
have to hold these seeds now.
Literally, like I'm losing it because I'm like, well, either I can put them like down, try and give them back to him, which would be insane. I can hold them, also insane.
For an
or
hour.
I can eat them when we just agreed that they tasted really bad. Also insane. So I just tried to like surreptitiously eat these disgusting.
Oh, no.
Yeah, that's terrible.
Yeah.
You should have just put him in your pocket.
Yeah, and he's like continuing to explain about it. And I'm like, and then we leave the tour, and then Annabelle's like, "Why are you being so weird?" And I'm like crying with laughter whilst trying to explain my dilemma with the hops. Yeah, it was a beautiful moment.
That is beautiful.
How long did it take you to come down from that high?
It was not. Oh, this was another. So Annabelle also has an annoying thing she likes to do where she pretends that she's not high whilst being demonstrably high because she doesn't feel like she is.
Yes,
And
I
then-
know people like this.
We decided we had to order food, but we weren't going to order room service because the tangential thing is that the restaurant in this hotel was like a slice of cake was £17.
Oh my god.
It was like prices you wouldn't pay at Claridge's. Like it was like insane. And so we were like, well, we have to order food. We have to work out whatever the Mexican Deliveroo who it is because we
Yeah.
can't leave the room. That's too difficult.
Yeah.
So we're ordering this food, and then Annabelle got halfway through ordering like pizza from a pizza place, and then it like rejected the order. At which point she just broke down in tears at a pizza tracker and was like, "The pizza's not coming." And I was like, "I think you might be high. you're crying at a pizza tracker."
I've definitely done that, not high.